Hey guys, this is the last video for this topic, finding the equation of a line. So this is some of the hardest maths that you'll do for this topic. Just as long as you follow the rules that I give you, you should be fine. And this relies on some algebra that you should have done in year 8. So far, what we've done is draw lines on a grid using the equation of the line. But now we need to be able to go backwards and find the equation of a line if I know the gradient and the y-intercept, if I see it drawn for me, for example, if you know the gradient and 1 point on the line, or if you know 2 points on the line. So 3 is the hardest situation. It requires the most use of maths that we have done. You just have to apply it all. You can't just forget stuff that we've done before. Okay, so example 1. Find the equation of a line with a gradient 5 and y-intercept of -3. Well, we already know that the equation of a line is y is equal to mx plus c, where m is the slope, or the gradient, or gradient, and c is the y-intercept. So in this example 1, this first situation, number 1, if you know the gradient and the y-intercept, you just plug those numbers into this equation, y is equal to mx plus c. So y is equal to, what's the gradient here? Gradient of 5, so it's going to be 5x. And the y-intercept is -3, so it's going to be plus -3. What happens to a plus and a minus sign next to each other? They become a minus sign. Sorry, I've got a very blocked nose. So that is the equation of a line that has gradient of 5 and a y-intercept of -3. Example 2. Find the equation of a line with a gradient 2/3 or 2/3 that goes through the point 3, 1. So this is slightly more difficult situation because you don't know the y-intercept straight away. You can't just plug it in to the equation formula like you did here because you knew the y-intercept was -3, so you just put it in there. So here we need to use some algebra. So I'll show that to you, okay? The equation of a line with gradient 2/3. So we already know that the equation of a line is y is equal to mx plus c, where m is the slope or gradient, and that is the y-intercept. So we already know what m is. We know it's 2/3x plus c. The problem is we don't know what c is this time, but what we do know is the rule that governs how the relationship, between x and y in the point. So we can plug that point into the formula to work out what c is. Okay, so for that point, the y coordinate is so I'm going to write to find c here, because that's what we're trying to do. You're going to substitute the points, the point into the equation using the coordinates here. So the point has a y coordinate of 1, so y is going to be 1. The slope was 2/3. And the x coordinate of the point is 3, so we're going to plug 3 into there, and it's plus c. We're trying to find this unknown here. Alright, now 1 is equal to, how do you multiply a fraction with a whole number? Well, write the whole number as a fraction. 3 is actually 3 wholes, like that. And then how do you multiply fractions? You times the top line by the top line, times the bottom line by the bottom line. 2 times 3 is 6, 3 times 1 is 3, plus c, 1 is 6, and 6 divided by 3 is 2, plus c. We need to work out c, so we need to leave c by itself. What's the opposite of positive 2? -2, so we need to take 2 from both sides. Why do you take 2 from both sides? You want to balance it out so you don't change the question. So I'm going to draw this up here. 1 take 2 is -1 is equal to 2 take 2 is going to be 0. So there's nothing else left on the right side. So it's going to be c. So c is equal to -1. So now we know the last little bit of the equation of the line, so we can write it in. Therefore, y is equal to 2/3 x plus c, which is -1, and what does a plus and minus sign become? It becomes a minus. So that is how you find the equation of a line if you know the gradient straight away, but you don't know the y-intercept, you just know one of the points that it goes through. Alright, last and lucky last is the hardest one. Find the equation of a line that goes through the points -2, 1, and 3, 16. So we know that the equation of a line is y is equal to mx plus c. We know m is the slope, or the gradient, and c is the y-intercept. We know none of those things right now. Unlike the last two situations, we don't know the slope, we don't know the y-intercept. But we have done maths that lets you work those out. So slope, you have a formula from your exercises, from your textbook that I gave you access to. The slope of a line between 2 points is y2 take y1 over x2 take x1. Why is that? Because y2 take y1 is the y step, and x2 take x1 is the x step. Alright, so to help us out, we could write that. It goes through the points -2, 1 to 3, 16. So this is x1, this is y1, this is x2, and this is y2. That'll help us fill this out. So y2 is 16, and y1 is 1. And x2 is 3, take x2, which is -2. 16 take 1 is 15. 3 take -2. A minus and a minus sign becomes a plus sign. So that becomes 15 over 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. So we know the slope, or m, as we've called it before, is going to be +3. So now we have an equation that is y is equal to 3x plus c. We don't know what c is just yet, but we do know 2 points that the line goes through. So in example 2, what did we do to find out what c was? We plugged the point in. We plugged a point in. We plugged a point that the line goes through. We've actually got 2 points here, so it's up to you. I'm just going to use that first one. So I'm going to use -2, 1. I'm going to substitute that in to find c. So y is equal to 3x plus c is our equation right now. The y-coordinate of the point is 1, the x-coordinate is -2, so that's what you're plugging in. 1 is equal to 3 times by -2 plus c. 1 is equal to 3 times -2 is -6 plus c. I'll continue that up here. What's the opposite? Because I want to find what c is, I need to get rid of -6 from that side. So I get rid of it by doing the opposite operation. What's the opposite of taking 6 from something? Adding 6. So I need to add 6 to both sides of this equation. -6, add 6. So I'm going to put into bricks what it is I'm doing to get rid of that stuff, which is adding 6. 1 plus 6 makes 7. -6 plus 6 is going to make 0, so there's nothing left on the right side except for +c. Therefore, c is equal to 7. So so my equation now, because I worked out what c is, y is going to be 3x plus 7. So that is the hardest maths that you need to do for this topic. Hopefully this video helps you out. Just follow the rules and you'll be fine, and I'll see you in the next one.